Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today we will be learning the topic analogies. It is generally considered as one of the toughest topics to crack in vocabulary section by learners, as it tests a person's vocabulary as well as logical reasoning skills. However, with the right strategies and a bit of smart vocabulary skills, it is possible to crack any analogy question. The objective of this video is to help you understand the following. That is, what are analogies, the difference among analogy, simile and a metaphor, and types of analogies. So let's begin with the statutory question, what is analogy? Look at this classic example. It is said that a sword is to a warrior as pen is to a writer, and vice versa. Now this is a typical example of an analogy. It shows a parallel comparison between two different things. So an analogy can be defined as a parallel comparison between two different things. Analogy is a common question seen in many competitive exams as well as placement tests. It basically tests your strength of vocabulary, logical thinking ability, and your ability to use your logical thinking to recognize parallel relationships. Now let's see what is the difference among an analogy, a simile, and a metaphor. I'm sure you must have heard of the terms simile and metaphor during your English classes in school. Now all these three terms refer to comparison of two things. But simile and metaphor are figures of speeches. A simile uses the words like or as to compare things, as in, he is as hungry as a horse, or love is like a red, red rose. In contrast, metaphors directly state a comparison, as in, time is a thief, or love is a battlefield. In contrast to both of these, an analogy says that something is like something else to make some sort of an explanatory point, and it is a type of argument which is more complicated and lengthy. Now an example would be pen is to a writer as sword is to a warrior. Now let's see how an analogy construction looks like. Look at this example. Find, locate, double colon, lose, misplace. Now here, colon stands for the phrase is related to, and the double colon stands for the phrase in the same way that. So you can read it as find is related to locate in the same way that lose is related to misplace. Or simply, you can read it as find is to locate as lose is to misplace. Now let's see how an analogy question would look like. Electricity is to wire, and the options are car is to highway, river is to bank, light is to bulb, and fluid is to pipe. So what is the relationship between electricity and wire? It is that electricity flows through wire, and a similar relationship that we can see here is in option D, that is fluid is to pipe. So the analogy here is electricity flows through wire in the same way that fluid flows through pipe. So in what ways could two words be related? Now please note that the relationship will always have to do with the meaning of the words. And also the relationship you need to explain will be constant relationships. Now let's have a look at some of the common types of relationships seen in analogies. Now they can be synonyms or antonyms, a part to the whole, a member to the category that contains it, cause to effect or effect to cause, varying degrees of a quantity or quality, and object to function. Now this will become clearer to you once you see some examples of each of these types. So here we have one example each for the previously mentioned relationships. Please pause the video here and try to figure out the answers that should come in the place of question marks. It needn't be correct, but just give it a try. After you finish deciding upon your answers, you may resume the video. Okay, I hope you have gone through the examples and decided upon your answers. So the first example is that of synonyms. The first part is infant is to baby. So the answer should be grown up is to adult. The second example is for antonyms. Big is to small as full is to yes, empty. Next is part to whole. That is, wheel is a part of a car as branch is a part of a tree. Another one is a member to the category that contains it. The example is apple is to fruit as carrot is to vegetable. That's correct. Next one is cause to effect. Broken pieces of glasses are called sliver, and what happens if it gets to your body? You will feel pain. So sliver causes pain in the same way that heat causes burn. Another type is varying degrees of a quantity or quality. Example is warm. Now warm is a comfortably high temperature, but hot is having a high degree of heat or high temperature. Similarly, cool is of or at fairly low temperature and cold is relatively lower than that. The next type is objective function. Now truck is used for transportation as oven is used for cooking or baking. You may choose your answer based on whatever option is given to you. So that was the introduction to analogies. I hope the concept is clear to you. In the next video, we shall discuss the strategies to solve analogies. Thank you and keep learning.